In ruins of a world once known, a solitary soul, unbowed, alone, through desolation darkness crept, with heavy heart, a silent step, a shelter found from chaos torn, a fleeting pause as sirens mourn, yet in the rubble hope awoke, a pipe, a purpose, life bespoke. Hi everyone, welcome back to Aether Plays Cataclysm, Dark Days Ahead? Question mark? Um, yeah, so what we have here is something that was just released called ChatGPT 4. Um, if you guys haven't heard of ChatGPT, it's basically a language model, right, where you type in text and then it gives you a response. Um, and it's probably the fastest growing single technology to have ever existed. It's sort of crazy to say, but if you've seen the graphs, right, like you sort of see like the graph to a million users, right? And Facebook, took like a couple weeks to reach like a million, right? Like TikTok, Instagram were even faster. And then, right, like ChatGPT is basically just like a straight line upwards. Um, so it really is like a true like cultural phenomenon, which makes sense because this sort of tool, right, might truly revolutionize the way that like we as humanity like one interact with machines, but two just like do our work, right? Just like the nature of work itself might change. But we're not going to be like discussing any of those like highbrow, right? Like philosophical deep discussions, right? Like today, right? Like we're going to be focused on Cataclysm, right? That's probably what you expect from my channel. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. So, with like the increased logical capabilities of this model, right, and its ability to better follow prompts, I was thinking that what we could do, right, is we could potentially do like a cataclysm scenario, right, but like in pure text form. Um, if you know like of the cataclysm engine under the hood, right, it's already basically like ASCII characters, right? That's why you see all of like the new monsters that are added or just like big A's and like W's and things like that. It's just because it's all like was originally based off of just like text symbols like rendered to the command line. So yeah, this what I'm saying is like like this is pretty close to Cataclysm already in terms of graphics. Okay, so we'll go ahead and type in our prompt. Okay, so let's go ahead and read what we wrote for our initial prompt. Please take on the role of a seasoned dungeon master with a knack for storytelling. You will be responsible for leading the story in an interesting direction and giving our characters novel choices based on the setting chosen. Specifically, I will be taking the role of an Evac shelter survivor in the game Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. I managed to get to the shelter right as the air raid sirens went silent, the shrill sound replaced by the sounds of heavy bombing. It has been a week since then, and wearily, I decide to peek out of the shelter for the first time. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what the ChatGPT responds with. As you cautiously crack open the door to the evac shelter, daylight pierces through the dim interior, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The once familiar world outside now looks like a twisted, apocalyptic version of itself. Buildings are reduced to rubble, and the streets are littered with abandoned vehicles and wreckage. The smell of smoke and decay hangs heavy in the air. As you take your first steps outside, you notice that the streets are eerily quiet, with no signs of survivor or other human activity. Your heart races with a mix of anxiety and determination, knowing that you must now navigate this treacherous new world to find safety and resources. You take a moment to survey your surroundings and identify two possible paths to explore. One, to the east, you see a partially collapsed building with what appears to be a pharmacy sign. There may still be medical supplies inside, which could be invaluable to your survival. And two, to the west, you hear the faint sounds of running water. Following the sound could lead you to a water source, an essential for any survivor. As you weigh your options, you also recall the map of the city that you studied before the bombing. From memory, you know that three to the north, a police station lies a few blocks away. Although it is likely to be dangerous, it may hold weapons and equipment to protect yourself. In four to the south, you remember a supermarket that would have food and potential other useful supplies. Holy cow, this is cool, man. It feels like an actual RPG. What the heck? So okay, so we have the pharmacy, right? There's potential for running water, there's a police station, and then a supermarket. Okay, so this is going to be our follow-up response. As I was evacuating, I saw more and more people succumb to a mysterious infection, their countenances twisting into an enraged, hateful form. There was no other way to put it. They were turning into zombies. Unequipped to deal with a zombie threat, I decide to head towards the water, wearily scanning the ground for some sort of improvised weapon to defend myself with. Let's see if we get a stick or a rock or a large rock, right? Like out of those, it's I believe the rock is the best choice, but let's see what we get. As you make your way towards the sound of running water, you keep a sharp eye on your surroundings, well aware of the potential danger posed by the infected. The streets are eerily quiet, with only the distant sound of collapsing buildings and distant growls breaking the silence. As you search for an improvised weapon, you come across a few potential options: a sturdy metal pipe lying amongst the rubble, long enough to be used as a makeshift club, a heavy, jagged piece of concrete that you can wield as a blunt weapon, a broken glass bottle with sharp edges that could be used for slashing and stabbing. You weigh the pros and cons of each option, considering the balance of weight and effectiveness. Once you have chosen your improvised weapon, you continue on your journey, following this faint sound of running water. The water source turns out to be a small creek that has managed to survive the destruction. The clear water glistens under the sunlight, but you hesitate to drink from it without purifying it first. As you examine the area, you spot a few potential resources: a nearby abandoned house that might contain items to help you purify the water, such as a cooking pot or water purification tablets. Okay, well, does it actually know what Cataclysm is, or is it just like coming up with this on the spot? A small campfire with a fire pit and a few scattered supplies, including a metal container that could be used to boil water. Holy cow. As you ponder your next move, you suddenly hear a guttural growl from behind a nearby tree. The hair on the back of your neck stands up, and your grip tightens around your makeshift weapon. What will you do, Survivor? Hmm. Okay, so our potential options are a sturdy metal pipe. I believe the metal pipe has like the highest bash damage. A heavy, jagged piece of concrete. So yeah, the accuracy bonus of like large weapons like these are pretty low. And then the broken glass bottle. Yeah, it's just too fragile. So out of those, we'll go ahead and grab the pipe. So wielding the pipe. Okay. So here we're going to use our cover to our advantage. So clutching the pipe with both hands, I run behind a thorny thicket, hoping that the obstacle will help me get a few free hits on the would-be threat before it can untangle itself. Right, so we're using the high move cost of the thorny thicket. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and ignore the water for now, just because we got to deal with the threat first. It quickly starting the fire, as we have learned, is a very much not a quick process. Okay, here we go. With your heart pounding in your chest, you quickly dash behind the thorny thicket, using it as a natural barrier between you and the potential threat. You ready your metal pipe, prepared to defend yourself if necessary. Moments later, a single disheveled zombie lurches into view, snarling and snapping at the air as it catches your scent. It tries to approach you, but gets caught in the thicket, its limbs entangled in the sharp thorns. This gives you a brief window of opportunity to strike. You take a deep breath and swing your pipe with all the strength you can muster, aiming for the zombie's head. The blow connects with a sickening thud, and the creature stumbles back, momentarily dazed. Taking advantage of the situation, you continue to strike at the zombie, doing your best to incapacitate it while it's tangled in the thicket. After several more well-placed blows, the zombie finally falls limp, its lifeless body collapsing into the thicket. With the immediate threat neutralized, you can now focus on the task of finding a way to purify the water from the creek. As you catch your breath and prepare to move forward, you remember the two potential resources you spotted earlier. One, the abandoned house that might contain items for purifying water. Two, the small campsite with a fire pit and scattered supplies. Which location will you investigate first, Survivor? Okay, here's what we should do, I think. Okay, so I breathe a sigh of relief, my hands still trembling from the adrenaline. Looping the pipe into my belt, I decide to check the abandoned house for a match or a lighter, hoping to use it to light the fire outside and boil the water. What changes to campfire? While searching, I also keep an eye out for anything that might serve as a better weapon than a simple pipe. With a renewed sense of caution, you approach the abandoned house. Its door is ajar, creaking gently in the breeze, and you push it open slowly, wincing at the noise it makes. You step into the dimly lit interior, your eyes adjusting to the darkness as you scan the rooms for any useful items. As you search the house, you find several potentially useful items: A lighter with just enough fuel to last a few uses, a half-empty box of matches, somewhat damp but still usable, a small camping knife with a serrated edge, a clear upgrade for your makeshift glass weapon. Okay, well, first of all, I have a pipe. I don't have a makeshift glass weapon. You gather these items and continue to search for anything that could serve as a better weapon than the pipe. In a dusty corner of the house, you come across an old, slightly rusty crowbar. While not an ideal weapon, it offers more versatility, could potentially pry open locked doors or containers. Now equipped with both a means to purify your water and an upgraded weapon, you head back to the campsite by the creek. You gather some firewood, arrange it in the fire pit, and use a lighter to ignite the tinder. As the fire crackles and grows, you fill the metal container with water from the creek and set it over the flames to boil. As you wait for the water to purify, you consider your next move. You recall the other locations you considered earlier. One, the partially collapsed pharmacy to the east, which could have medical supplies. Two, the police station to the north, likely dangerous but potentially housing weapons and equipment. And three, the supermarket to the south with food and other supplies. Where will you go next, survivor? Hmm. So we now have a crowbar, right? Okay, interesting. So we could potentially pry things, right? Like break into houses, things like that, loot stuff. Hmm. We still don't have any upgraded armor. Okay, here's what we say. The police station is the ultimate goal, but I am too unprepared to fight armored zombies in my current condition. The zombified police force likely has protective gear that my crowbar will be ineffective against. I decide to go to the supermarket, not so much for the food, but in order to somehow fabricate a long pike or spear, something that can get through the tough armor of the zombies while keeping me out of harm's way. Let's do it. With a plan in mind, you pack up your purified water and head towards the supermarket to the south. As you move through the desolate streets, you remain vigilant, keeping an eye out for any additional threats that may lurk in the shadows. Upon reaching the supermarket, you find that its glass doors have been shattered and broken shopping carts litter the entrance. You step carefully over the debris and make your way inside. The shelves have been largely picked clean, but you're not here for food. You're here to find something that can be fashioned into a long pike or spear. You search the aisles and spot a few items that might be of use. A long mop handle made of sturdy metal, a mop made out of metal, what? That could serve as a base for your weapon. A sharp pointed metal rod from a dismantled shelf, which could be used as the tip of your spear. A roll of duct tape to secure the components together and reinforce the weapon structure. Gathering these materials, you find a quiet corner of the supermarket to assemble your makeshift weapon. With the serrated camping knife, you carefully cut away any excess material and sharpen the tip of the metal rod. Using the duct tape, you attach the rod to the end of the mop handle, ensuring it is secure and stable. As you admire your handiwork, you feel more prepared to face the dangers that lie ahead. You now have a weapon that could potentially pierce the armor of the zombified police force, increasing your chances of survival. With your new spear in hand, you consider your next destination. One, the partially collapsed pharmacy, or two, the police station. Hmm. Which may still be a dangerous challenge, but you now have a better chance with your improvised spear. Where will you head next, survivor? I really like the crafting, like the description of the crafting, right? Like, like we made it out of duct tape and like a long pole, and it's basically the exact same crafting recipe that like Cataclysm uses, which is cool. Um, okay, where will you head next, survivor? So I'm thinking we go to the police station, right? And then if we survive, and that's a big if, then we'll go to the collapsed pharmacy, right? And try to heal up our wounds. Okay, so here's our next strategy. I head off towards the police station, but remain low, crouching as I approach. I want to try and survey the area to see how many infected I'm dealing with, where they're located, and whether there are any unique special undead. As you make your way towards the police station, you maintain a low, crouching posture to minimize the chances of being spotted by any infected. Your heart races as you draw closer, knowing the area could be swarming with danger. When you arrive at the perimeter of the police station, you find a suitable vantage point behind a wrecked vehicle, allowing you to survey the area without being easily detected. Through careful observation, you note the following. One, there are about a half dozen infected officers wearing tattered and damaged body armor. They seem to be patrolling the area around the police station, making it difficult to approach without being noticed. Two, you spot one particularly large mutated zombie that appears to be an ex-SWAT officer. It looks much stronger and more heavily armored than the others, making it a significant threat. Three, the entrance to the police station seems to be partially blocked by a barricade of abandoned police vehicles. While this may provide some cover, it also makes accessing the building a more challenging task. With this information in mind, you consider your options for infiltrating the police station. 1. Attempt a stealthy approach using the cover provided by the barricade and wrecked vehicles to sneak past the patrolling zombies. 2. Create a distraction, perhaps by throwing a rock or other object, to draw the infected away from the entrance, allowing you to slip inside. Or 3. Try to pick off the infected officers one by one from a distance, using your newly crafted spear to eliminate them before they can close in on you. What will your strategy? What will be your strategy, Survivor? Hmm. I think let's try to pick them off one by one, right? And then maybe we can like upgrade our armor, right? Like from the piece by piece, right? Like by picking through the damaged like officer armor. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I decide to try and lure in a single officer, grabbing a few pieces of rubble from a nearby collapsed building. I wait until a zombified officer shambles into view, throw a rock near it to get its attention, and then throw one more directly at its head, trying to bait it into rushing me. If it does, I ready my improvised spear, hoping to lure it over the rubble I'm standing next to, and impale it when it gets close. You gather a few pieces of rubble from the collapsed building, readying them for your plan to lure in a single zombified officer. You wait patiently, observing the patrol patterns of the infected. Finally, you spot an opportunity as one of the officers shambles closer to your position. Taking careful aim, you throw a rock near the officer, catching its attention as the rubble clatters against the ground. The zombie snarls and turns its head towards the source of the noise. Now, aware of your presence, you throw another rock, this time aiming for its head to provoke it further. The rock connects, and the zombie officer growls with rage, now fixated on you. As you hope, the enraged officer charges towards you, stumbling over the rubble in his path. You grip your improvised spear tightly, positioning yourself for the perfect strike. Just as the zombie officer is about to reach you, you thrust your spear forward with all your strength, aiming for the exposed part of its body where the armor is weakest. The spear pierces the zombie's flesh, the force of the impact driving it back. The officer snarls and thrashes fade as it collapses to the ground, lifeless once again. Your plan was a success, and you've managed to eliminate one of the threats without alerting the others. With the area around the police station still infested with infected officers and a mutated ex-SWAT zombie, you consider your next move. 1. Continue to lure it and eliminate the remaining officers one by one using the same tactic. Or 2. Use this opportunity to try and sneak past the remaining infected whilst they are still unaware of your presence. What will you do, Survivor? Okay, so I dragged the downed officer zombie away, making sure to get far enough that there's no chance that any of the others will spot me. Afterwards, I stripped the zombie of its armor, looking to see what condition it's in, and specifically what pieces of armor there are. Carefully, you drag the downed officer zombie away from the scene, ensuring that you're far enough away from the police station to avoid detection by the remaining infected. Once you find a safe spot, you begin the process of stripping the zombie of its armor, hoping that it might offer you some added protection. The armor is in a fairly worn and damaged state, but there's still some pieces that could be useful. 1. A bulletproof vest, though damaged, still offers some protection against blunt force and may absorb some impact. 2. A pair of tactical boots, scuffed but intact, that would provide better support and protection for your feet. And 3, a riot helmet with a cracked visor, which can still shield your head from potential blows. You take a moment to put on the salvage armor, adjusting the straps and buckles to fit as best as you can. While it might not be in perfect condition, it still offers a valuable layer of defense against the threats you'll face. Now better protected, you consider your next move. 1. Continue to lure and eliminate, or 2. Use the opportunity to sneak past. I continue to try and lure in the zombies one by one. Okay. I continue to try and lure in the zombies one by one, trying to only get the attention of the officers while hoping the mutated SWAT zombie doesn't notice me. After the first couple, I start to get less and less vigilant about being safe, confident that my newfound armor will protect me. And that's when I make a mistake. Okay, let's see what sort of mistake I make. With your newfound armor boosting your confidence, you continue to use your previous tactic to lure and eliminate the remaining officer zombies one by one. You try to avoid drawing the attention of the mutated SWAT zombie, hoping to save that encounter for last. However, as you pick off the infected officers, you begin to feel overconfident in your abilities, and your vigilance starts to wane. During one of your attempts, you misjudge the distance and accidentally make too much noise while luring a zombie officer. Before you realize your mistake, The mutated SWAT zombie catches wind of the commotion and starts to make its way towards your location. You quickly eliminate the officer zombie you were luring, but now you find yourself in a far more dangerous situation. With the mutated SWAT zombie approaching, you consider your options. 1. Stand your ground and fight, using your makeshift spear and newfound armor to try and take down the powerful foe. Or 2. Attempt to evade the mutated zombie, either by hiding or leading it on a chase away from the police station. What will you do, Survivor? Hmm. So it's possible that with how large and mutated this SWAT officer is, SWAT zombie is, right? We could potentially like lead it away, right? Like just walking, um, right? Like that probably won't use up too much stamina, but we're not really sure like how powerful it is or how fast it is. I know it's risky, but I quickly try to check the holsters of the downed officers for a pistol of some kind. There's a low chance of finding anything, but this is my only chance to do so before the SWAT zombie gets too close. Aware of the imminent threat posed by the approaching mutated SWAT zombie, you quickly search the holsters of the downed officer zombies for any potential firearms. Your heart races as you frantically check each one, knowing that time is of the essence. To your surprise and relief, you find a 9mm pistol in the holster of one of the officers. It appears to have a few rounds still loaded in the magazine, but there's no time to search for additional ammunition. You quickly grab the weapon and check the safety, ensuring it's ready for use. With the mutated SWAT zombie closing in, you now have two options. Stand your ground and fight using the pistol in conjunction with your makeshift spear and newfound armor to try to take down the powerful foe. Or 2, attempt to evade the mutated zombie either by hiding or leading it on a chase away from the police station, saving the pistol for a more dire situation. What will you do off Survivor? Okay. Knowing that this is a powerful foe and a SWAT zombie on top of that, I realize I have no chance of taking the zombie out if I tried to fire at its head at, at its chest or head. Instead, I wait for it to climb into the rubble and empty the magazine into it, firing frantically at its legs, hoping it's enough to slow it down. As the mutated SWAT zombie gets closer, you steady your nerves and focus on your plan. You know that aiming for the chest or head would likely be futile due to the zombie's heavy armor. Instead, you wait for the opportune moment when the SWAT zombie begins to climb onto the rubble, its legs momentarily more exposed and vulnerable. Taking a deep breath, you aim the pistol at the zombie's legs and pull the trigger, firing round after round in rapid succession. The sound of gunshots echoes through the desolate streets, and the force of the bullets impacts the SWAT zombie's legs, causing it to stumble and slow down. The magazine runs empty, and the SWAT zombie is still standing, albeit severely slowed and struggling to maintain its balance. You've managed to buy yourself some time, but it's still a dangerous adversary. With the SWAT zombie temporarily hindered, you have two options. 1, take advantage of its impaired mobility and engage it in close combat with your makeshift spear, hoping to strike a lethal blow. Use this opportunity to flee from the scene and try to make your way inside the police station while the SWAT zombie is recovering. Will you do, Survivor? Hmm. Well, if it's down, right, it's struggling to stand, then this sort of is like our best opportunity, even though it means like we're getting close. We won't be getting too close. So let's go ahead and try to take it out. Okay. I drop the pistol to the ground and immediately grab my spear, thrusting it upwards, trying to pierce the zombie past its heavy combat armor and take it out in one fell swoop. I still don't know the extent of this zombie's mutation and just how strong it might be, but I'm hoping this will be enough. With the SWAT zombie struggling to regain its balance, you seize the opportunity to strike. Dropping the empty pistol, you quickly grab your makeshift spear and prepare to attack. You know this might be your best chance to eliminate the heavily armored foe before it recovers. Channeling all your strength and determination, you thrust the spear upwards, aiming for a weak point in the zombie's armor. The spear pierces through the protective gear and sinks deep into the creature's body. The SWAT zombie lets out a guttural growl, its movements becoming more erratic and desperate. You maintain the grip on the spear, driving it further into the creature until it finally ceases to move. With a final heavy breath, the mutated SWAT zombie collapses to the ground, lifeless once again. Exhausted but victorious, you take a moment to catch your breath and assess the situation. The area around the police station is now clear of threats, and you can finally explore the building in search of valuable supplies and resources. As you stand before the entrance to the police station, you ponder what you might find inside. Weapons and ammunition to better arm yourself with against the dangers of this world, or 2, a functioning police radio that might allow you to communicate with other survivors or learn about the current state of the world. Okay. So before we do all that, right, like let's go ahead and get our loot from like this SWAT zombie. I let a I let out a relieved, shaky sigh, sitting down next to the pile of infected I've managed to slay, rather, giving myself a moment of respite. Only once I'm back at full strength do I decide to refocus my efforts, looking the SWAT zombie over, both to upgrade my armor but also to grab any potential SWAT weapons I might have. You take a well-deserved break, sitting down next to the pile of defeated infected. The adrenaline slowly fades, and you take a few moments to recover your strength and refocus your mind. Once you feel ready, you turn your attention to the fallen SWAT zombie, hoping to find some valuable upgrades for your equipment. As you search the mutated SWAT zombie, you manage to salvage the following items: 1. A more durable and robust Kevlar vest, nice. A pair of reinforced tactical gloves. A compact but powerful tactical flashlight. Okay. There's no additional weapons on the SWAT zombie. Dang. Okay, so we proceed to enter the police station, ready to face whatever challenges and discoveries await you inside. Okay, so yeah, let's enter, heading for the weapons lockers. With your new equipment secured, you cautiously enter the police station, your senses on high alert for any unexpected threats. The building is eerily quiet, with only the distant echo of your footsteps and the occasional creaking of the structure filling the air. You navigate through the dimly lit corridors, using your tactical flashlight to illuminate the way. Your primary objective is to locate the weapons lockers, as they may hold valuable firearms and ammunition to aid in your survival. After a thorough search, you eventually come across a reinforced steel door marked Armory. The door appears to be locked, but you notice a nearby keypad that might grant access if you can figure out the correct code. You consider your options for gaining entry to the armory. Try to hack the keypad using any available tools or knowledge you may have to bypass the security system, or 2. Search the police station for clues or information that might reveal the code to the armory. What will you do, Survivor? Okay, I do not know the first thing about how to possibly hack the keypad, so I decide that my only option is to explore and find the code. Accepting that hacking the keypad is beyond your expertise, you decide to explore the police station and search for clues or information that might reveal the code to the armory. You begin your search methodically, checking offices, desks, and lockers, hoping to find a hidden note or document containing the valuable information you seek. As you rummage through the various rooms, you come across the station's records room. You notice a filing cabinet labeled security and quickly begin to search through the files, hoping that it contains the information you need. After some time, you find a folder containing documents related to the armory's security measures. Within the folder, you discover a handwritten note with a series of numbers scrawled on it. You can't be certain, but this could be the code you're looking for. With the potential code in hand, you return to the armory door and carefully input the numbers into the keypad. To your relief, the security system beeps and the door unlocks with a heavy clunk. The armory door creaks open, revealing a room filled with firearms, ammunition, and other tactical equipment. As you survey the available resources, you consider which weapons might be most useful to you in your current situation. 1. A powerful shotgun, useful for dealing massive damage at close range. A semi automatic rifle, offering versatility and accuracy at various distances. Okay. Hmm. Semi automatic rifle. I do like like an AR. That's usually my go-to over the shotgun just because of the longer range. Okay. Scared of what potential mutations the advanced undead might have evolved, I decide the rifle was the better choice, able to take them out at a distance. I grab the rifle, then look for a shoulder sling, a tactical vest for holding magazines, and all the ammo I can. Determined to be prepared for any potential threats and mutations advanced undead might possess, you decide that a semi-automatic rifle is your best choice for maintaining a safe distance from your enemies. You carefully examine the available rifles and choose one that feels comfortable and well balanced in your hands. Once you have the rifle, you search the armory for additional gear to complement your new weapon. You find a durable shoulder sling, which allows you to carry the rifle with ease and quickly bring it into action when needed. Additionally, you discover a tactical vest designed for holding magazines, enabling you to carry extra ammunition with you. After equipping the sling and vest, you gather as much ammunition as you can find, loading several magazines and stashing them in your vest's pouches. With your new weapon and gear secure, you feel a renewed sense of confidence and readiness to face the challenges ahead. As you exit the armory, you consider your next move. Explore the police station further, searching for other useful resources or information, or venture back into the streets with your new weaponry and knowledge to seek out other survivors or work towards finding a safe haven. I grab a police dispatch radio, then survey the town for the tallest point within it, both as a sniping spot for my new rifle, but secondarily as a way to receive radio signals from other survivors. Before leaving the police station, you grab a police dispatch radio from one of the desks. You hope it might help you communicate with other survivors or provide important information about the current state of the world. With your new gear and radio, you head outside and survey the town. You're looking for the tallest point in the area, which can serve as both a strategic sniping spot and a vantage point for receiving radio signals. After scanning the skyline, you spot a tall clock tower in the center of town. It appears to be the highest point in the area and could be the ideal location for your purposes. As you make your way towards the clock tower, you weigh your options. Approach the clock tower cautiously, keeping a low profile to avoid drawing unwanted attention. Move quickly and directly towards the clock tower, prioritizing speed over stealth. Yeah, let's go with the second option. I feel like we're ready to take on the world. Let's do it. Deciding the speed is of the essence, you choose to move quickly and directly towards the clock tower. As you make your way through the town, you keep a firm grip on your rifle, ready to defend yourself if necessary. You navigate the streets at a brisk pace, occasionally glancing around to assess your surroundings. Although you prioritize speed over stealth, you remain vigilant for any signs of danger or potential threats. Fortunately, your journey to the clock tower is relatively uneventful, and you soon find yourself standing at its base. The entrance appears to be unlocked, so you cautiously make your way inside and begin to ascend the stairs. As you climb higher, the view of the town becomes increasingly expansive. Upon reaching the top of the clock tower, you find yourself with a commanding view of the entire area. It's the perfect vantage point for both sniping and receiving radio signals. Now that you've secured your position, you consider your next move. One, set up your rifle and begin scanning the town for potential threats, using your elevated position to pick off any dangerous creatures from a safe distance. Or two, turn on the police dispatch radio and attempt to make contact with other survivors or listen for any valuable information being broadcasted. I flip open the radio and extend the antenna, scanning through the crackling frequencies for any other survivor broadcasts. You set down your rifle momentarily and focus on the police dispatch radio. Extending the antenna, you begin to carefully scan through the various frequencies, listening intently for any signs of life among the static and crackling noises. As you cycle through their channels, you occasionally pick up faint snippets of conversations and broadcasts. Most are distorted or unintelligible, but you continue your search, hoping to find a clear signal or a message from other survivors. Finally, after several minutes of searching, you stumble upon a clearer transmission. A weary voice comes through the radio, speaking of a small group of survivors that have banded together and established a makeshift safe haven in a nearby town. The voice provides coordinates for the location, inviting anyone who hears the message to join them. Let's go ahead and head towards the survivors. Encouraged by the prospect of finding safety and camaraderie among fellow survivors, you decide to pack up your gear and immediately set out for the location provided in the radio broadcast. You double check the coordinates and determine the direction you need to travel. After securing your rifle and making sure you have all of your equipment, you begin your journey towards the makeshift safe haven in the nearby town. As you make your way through the desolate landscape, you stay alert for any potential threats or obstacles. The road ahead is uncertain, but the possibility of finding a community of survivors gives you hope and a renewed sense of purpose. With the determination in your heart, you press on, ready to face whatever challenges and adventures lie ahead in this post apocalyptic world. And with each step, you become more confident that you have the skills and resourcefulness to survive the dark days ahead. Good luck, survivor. May you find safety, friendship, and a new beginning in this dangerous and ever changing world. Wow. Okay. I mean, honestly, I thought that was really good. Like the writing of ChatGPT 4 is just really good. I feel like it didn't lose the plot like at all. Like it just knew exactly what it was doing, right? Wow. Yeah, that was good. Um, hmm. Please write me an award-winning deep metaphorical poem about the story. In ruins of a world once known, a solitary soul, unbowed, alone, through desolation darkness crept, with heavy heart, a silent step, a shelter found from chaos torn, a fleeting pause as sirens mourn, yet in the rubble hope awoke, a pipe, a purpose, life bespoke. Twisted visages rage unbound, the fallen rose from cursed ground, with iron will each fiend dispatched, the once familiar world detached. A fortress found where justice reigned, its secrets sought, a vest obtained, a crowbar's might, the armored fall, a testament to human thrall. The market's bounty pike devised, to pierce the heart where evil lies, a path to law where weapons lay, to arm the meek for brighter days. A tower tall, a vantage gained, to survey lands where darkness stained, a crackling voice in static weaved, a beacon's call where hope conceived. Through shattered streets to refuge pressed, in unity a world redressed, a tale of strife of blood and tears, yet in the end the light appears. A metaphor for lives once led. When darkness rose and joy seemed dead, to find our strength, our will to fight, for in the depths there shines a light. Wow. That was actually so good. What the heck? That was like the best poem ever. And it was just like it followed the story so well. No way. What the heck? That's crazy. I don't think we can ever top that. So yeah, I think this is a good place to call it. Honestly, I had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys did too. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. All right, bye.